Do you remember when there was a problem with eating disorders?
Yes.
It probably still is, but remember how it was like so much worse. There were so many females that were like, they had bulimia and they were anorexia.
7 years ago?
Yes, it was a huge phenomenon where so many females just were so stressed out about their image
and their body
that they were starving themselves. So that just goes to show you how overwhelmed a young female can be in this society, and how much pressure society puts on women to look a certain way. Whereas when you wear hijab, and I'm speaking from somebody who's coming from a Western culture, coming from a pub culture, coming into hijab, what hijab actually does, it creates a feeling of, my appearance is none of your business.
Yes, very much.
How I look to you is none of your business. Whether I'm putting on weight, losing weight, it's none of your business. So that's why for the month of May, there's so much to hijab. There's so many benefits to hijab. But for this week, we're focusing on the P, the physical. The PIES is an acronym. Okay. P is for physical, I is for intellectual, E is for emotional, S is for spiritual. But this week we're looking just at the physical, because there's just so many physical benefits to hijab and hijabi culture.
Yes.
Just the culture of what you're wearing, how you're positioning yourself with other people, how you speak, your tone of voice, your posture, how you set yourself up in the world, and the various boundaries that you put into place to protect and honor yourself.
You know, those elements of Raunch culture that you brought up and that you raised. It's interesting, because I'm sitting here thinking back on. So it's been about I think 11 years since I matriculated. And because I was one of Sister Mahbooba's, very early on in the Pathways program, it wasn't even called Pathways, at the time, I entered into a co-ed high school space with a heightened consciousness which my peers never had.
Yes.
And I'm speaking, other Muslim women. And so it was fascinating for me being a 13, 14-year-old, and having this understanding of male and female interactions, and watching it play out, within a school setting and in front of me. So everything we learned in the Pathways, or back then it was called the Sina Rush classes, you actually see playing out, in front of you. And as somebody who had prior knowledge of it, you're sort of able to recognize it. But for the people engaging in it, they didn't know what was happening.
Yes.
Because this is how I was feeling, and I act on my feeling, and everybody else is doing it, so why shouldn't I? But even back then, it was there was still a sense of shame attached to it, which is not something that you find now. And I find that very interesting.
Yes.
Because I even made an observation to my sister the other day that, now and then if I'm driving and I'm on the road for a long time, I put the radio on so that I don't fall asleep. So a couple of years ago, or when I was still at high school, I can clearly remember that when a song had a swear word or a derogatory term in it, the version that played on the radio would bleep it out, or they'll botch the audio at that point. That is not something that happens anymore.
No.
So the profanity, derogatory terms, suggestive terms, those are all, music is played, as it is. And these elements of Raunch culture that you mention now, I see it in Muslim women.
It's becoming more and more of an issue. It's very much it's a phenomenon. Like the fact that a secular woman who's not religious is going, whoa, what's going on here? This is getting too much. That's telling you something, because there's too much of a push.
Yeah.
So we're all being collectively groomed.
Yes.
Do you understand? We're all being desensitized. It's like because Mahbooba's Pathways, she's dealing with the hijabi culture on a physical, intellectual, emotional, and spiritual level. So she's connecting all of these concepts holistically, and then she definitely brings up the frog in the water concept.
Okay,
you understand?
When you turn up the water.
Yes.
Yeah,
so that's why happening. When it comes to the Quran, because I find and I'm going to make the suggestion to Muslims listening: if somebody comes up to you and says, "Why do women quote unquote wear hijab?" Now we know that it's the khimar, it's the headscarf. The hijab is the cover. Hijab is a cover. That's why I say hijabi culture, because it's about boundaries in general. So it's not just you wearing a scarf on your head, because what's the point of you just wearing a scarf on your head and then you are wearing like a skin tight outfit and then you jump in a car with a strange male? Like, you know, you need to be conscious and street smart and be boundary orientated to practice hijabi culture. And of course, understanding Raunch culture and cultivating the opposite of that is very helpful, because they are very much are on opposite ends.
Of course. And just from an Islamic perspective, you know, you can't teach somebody to abide by a set of rules and laws if you don't teach them what the opposite is.
Yes.
And so if we're going to be speaking about hijab, we need to speak about the opposite of
hijab, and
where it is that you could possibly end up, or which line
because that's where this is where the Quran is actually proven correct. Because the thing is, you as a Muslim woman spending your whole life in hijab, in your khimar, but basically hijab culture, that includes your headscarf. It's hard for you to know exactly how that's positively impacted on you, because you don't have the alternative life
on the outside
to see how, you know, if somebody's coming into hijab from a non-hijabi, from a Western situation, you know, I personally can feel a difference, and I've seen a difference, but it's very hard to tell otherwise. But when you're looking at the Raunch culture and how it's grooming society as a whole, you can see how within that context females are falling prey and being manipulated and taken advantage of. So when the Quran says that the purpose of this is to protect females from harm, you can truly appreciate that sentiment when you look at a society that has the opposite of that.
Of course.
Then you can see how it's actually very prevalent for females to be constantly exploited and abused and undermined and be constantly subjected to. I mean, we've got a problem with human trafficking as well.
Yes.
You know, especially in South Africa, South Africa at one point, we have roughly the same population as Texas. We're the same size geographically, but we have more rapes per year than the whole of the United States of America.
Yes. The rape capital of the world.
We're the rape capital of the world. And there's a lot of reasons for that. And it's not necessarily because, you know, the females are walking down the street and provoking the males.
Yeah.
But the raw reality is that you're living in a system that has failed you, and you therefore have to protect yourself.
Yeah.
You have to, we have homes with burglar systems, and we've got security systems, we've got burglar bars. We South Africans have to do more to take care of ourselves and to protect ourselves, because we can't rely on authorities anymore. That's the raw reality of it.
It is, unfortunately. All right. Sister Leela, you know, made mention of the fact that as a South African society, we do things, and we spend quite a lot of money to safeguard our properties and our homes and our cars and those sort of things. But as South African women, there's a very different reality that we face. Our country is we are the rape capital of the world. Now, we spend all of this money securing, you know, the physical properties and physical things. But what do we as women do to secure ourselves? And where does this leave us as South African women living in the rape capital of the world?
The thing is about us women, see, our property does not have intellect, our property does not have emotion, our property does not have soul. We women have intellect, emotions, and soul. We are more important than our property. We are more important than our houses and our cars and the money that we spend. Because we are intellectual beings, we are emotional, and we are spiritual beings. We are believing women, we are servants of Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala. So our value is beyond measure.